No, and this is the really messed up thing, and I want to really hear your opinion on this. Well, it's all this crypto stuff's happening, right? And what ends up happening is because when the United States goes cold, the CCP starts giving money to projects because if the United States was really bullish, they go super negative on crypto. So it's this whole thing where like when US is cold, they're hot. And they just keep flip-flopping back and forth.
And yeah, like right now it's hilarious. Well, not hilarious, but I mean, China basically, we were talking about this a little earlier, just arrested a guy, put him in prison for 9 months for using Tether. So, I mean, you know, this central bank digital currency stuff, they're going to make examples out of people, you know.
I mean, you want to know something crazy? Some of the Genesis wallets from Ethereum, right? They've been linked to, I mean, a lot of the Genesis wallets have been linked now secretly funding Bitfinex and Tether.
Okay.
Yeah, there's this guy I've been following for a while now who's been like checking on-chain data and stuff.
What's the major difference between USDC and Tether?
United States, basically Asian, sort of like.
But they're both one-to-one to the dollar.
So yeah,
they're both one to one.
It's just who's behind it. Like basically Tether on their side, they're more like El Salvador and the Bitcoiners and the Ethereum people. They're all like the people who want decentralization, the people who want something without the United States' complete control, right? They fund Tether through Bitfinex. Yeah. And then USDC is more through Circle and Coinbase, which is the digital JP Morgan, which has links to the Fed of the United States government.
Interesting. So China would be helping out people if they're cracking down on Tether.
Yeah, it's kind of like they're using.
Interesting.
It's really weird. It's sort of like they don't want their people to use it, but they also need this as a tool to like have some sort of power.
Yeah, there's actually a town that was on the border between China and Russia, and through the shopping mall there, I think this was in 2019. There was like a lot of Tether being basically funneled between countries there at that part of the border.
Those two, that's the Wild West right there.
Yeah.
The China-Russia border, that's the Wild West, man.
Yep.
It really is. And the interesting thing with all the men dying in Ukraine, those Chinese men are going to be moving right up into the border and fighting all those women. So either way, Putin loses.
That's funny.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting seeing what Putin's doing right now, just geopolitically. He's doing a lot of he's basically supplying a lot of Africa right now to kind of fight against those dirty Frenchmen.
I don't blame him for that. I mean, the French don't even use the franc anymore. What the fuck are they forcing down those fucking 14 African nations? It's literally colonialism. No. But here's the thing. They've been able to get away with it for a long, long time. Their country isn't like others. They need nuclear power. They need uranium. Yes. That uranium comes from over there. So if those supplies don't come, France goes down. They're not like the other countries. They need nuclear power.
Right.
It's kind of crazy. And I just learned this too. Like we get half of our uranium and everything from Russia. Yep. The United States does. So, and that's the one when we put all these embargoes and stuff. The only thing we didn't put embargoes on was like, yeah, you can bring the uranium.
No sanctions on Ukraine.
No sanctions on that, man. But it's kind of. I mean, we just recently had one open. I think in Georgia actually. We just had the first power plant in like I can't remember how like 40, 50 years open.
Oh, new one.
A new one, yeah. It just opened. It was like a 3-stage reactor or 3 reactors and stuff. But
we got one in Minnesota.
Yeah, but it's not a new one though.
No. Yeah, it's been a while.
But that's one important one. So a lot of these reactors aren't even at full capacity and stuff. Like, I mean, it would be smart if some company just said, "Hey, give us power." I mean, like you could It's better. I mean, like it's better to charge something for those watts than not. You know.
Yeah. I was always interested in why terrorists never hit nuclear power plants.
Right.
I was always interested in that. Like, why do you have to get a dirty bomb? You would just have to hit a nuclear power plant.
Allegedly.
And then I was always interested in why is it they don't have maximum security around these things? Like this should be like fucking Fort Knox, so no one could do what I just said. Right. A lot of things like that always bug me. Like, why is it if these terrorists are so-called real, why aren't they doing stuff like that? Because that's what I would do if I was a terrorist. It would be common sense. Or why are they worried about guarding the the Atlantic Ocean and the Pacific Ocean when people can just come right through the border? Why is that? And I personally believe all these so-called terrorists, all these people want to bring down things. I think it's all bullshit, man. I think what it actually is some people get manipulated by the movies. They want to get famous. And when people think this is nonsense, let's not forget the guy who shot Ronald Reagan wanted to impress Jodie Foster in 1981. This is true fact. He wanted to impress a fucking actress, so he shot. And that kid was actually from a predominant rich family in D.C. So again, we talking about MK Ultra over here, someone who was brainwashed from a predominant family, probably the third or second or fourth child that no one really cares too much what happens to him, so he can be sacrificed. Go take this person out. The family did what they had to do to basically please their masters.
Right.
Fucked up shit.
I mean, let's just say the real reason why we're safe, because they're men, the men and the women of the CIA and the FBI protect America. This is the reason why, I want you to know.
The men and the women, the CIA protect America. As a matter of fact, the only true American president in the past century was John F. Kennedy. And let's be honest, he didn't get any protection from the CIA. They put a fucking bullet in him and used the mob as a fucking patsy. Yeah. So let's keep it real. The CIA is they're not benevolent. I'll just say that. And again, the CIA has become ever so more powerful since, internet, computers, and all that. Because let's not forget, there's a reason they call it social media. CIA is right in social. So they own the whole game.
Well, and then we also had Bush putting across the Patriot Act, that lovely piece of legislation.
Of course.
Good job.
Good job, buddy.
Yeah. But obviously I was joking around about the CIA and the FBI keeping it safe.